Hello, girls, guys, or otherwise. This is Rich with your Wednesday spot for Witchy Wednesday. Today, I wanted to go through a couple things for Thrifty Witching. This is going to be part of an overall series. I'm going to try to highlight some of the things I have in the store, but today these are not necessarily things I have in my eBay store that you can use for a witchy purpose that look like everyday items and whatnot. So, without further ado, let me go ahead and get into it, but I do need assistance from Chip, my quartz crystal orb. Okay, yeah, I still have my work shirt on, and I'm trying to keep the name of the company on the DL. So if you saw the name of the company, ignore that, please. Anyway, you might have. I really don't care anymore, but I just want to keep that part of my life separate. So anyway, um, so some simple things that you can pick up pretty much just about anywhere, um, like Goodwill. Let's see, Salvation Army, local thrift stores, flea markets, stuff like that. Uh, I'm going to show you a handful of things that you can use for witchy purposes, and you can definitely buy some of these items on my eBay store, link below. While you're down there, go ahead and hit the like, subscribe, dislike, doesn't matter to me which ones you hit. Leave a comment, all that good stuff. But go ahead and visit the eBay site, um, because I do have stuff similar to this jumble of things that I'm going to show you today, but these items in particular are not on there because these are from my personal collection. So, and they're actually being used in my practice. This one in particular, I need to clean up and then use. These are little perfume bottles, or oil bottles, water decanters, any decanter of any sort. This is actually quite a large one, but you can find, I do have some perfume bottles and whatnot on my eBay store. This one is glass. It has a glass stopper and all that goes on there, just sits on there, doesn't really have a tight seal of any sort on it. However, what you can use these for is if you're making up in an oil that you use on a regular basis. This one, I would say, would be for something that you use a lot of. So maybe moon water, maybe if you're doing a money oil or a money water of some sort, for any financial abundance, this would be great because it is green. I do have some that have the little atomizers on them. One of them has a higher price because it is hand-blown glass, all that good stuff. And it is very, very beautiful. Go check it out. You can shop to your heart's content, and even if you don't buy anything, it's still a wonderfully, done piece that kind of demands a higher price. So, anyway, perfume bottles, great for oils or your waters and whatnot. Moon water would work very well in that. You can use full moon water, new moon water. You can use it as a vessel for holding any liquids. I would prefer for something like this to hold liquids, just because it's kind of hard to get some solids out of a small neck bottle. For something a little bigger, you'd want like a jar, and you can pick those up relatively cheap. At Goodwill and all that, they don't know how to price these things, so you can usually find them for a discounted price. Even old perfume bottles that have the little spritzer on them, you can still get those. You can pop the tops off, be very careful, pop the top off, clean it with some rubbing alcohol and whatnot, clean the inside very well, and you can put your own oils in there. So, little pro tip for you. The next thing I want to say is bells. Bells are underutilized in a lot of practices. I know some people out there, they love to use sound to clear a space, and I can't think of anything easier to find at a thrift shop of sorts than a bell. Some of them come with a little, like, limited edition, 1986, and, is big in ceramic. If that's your taste, fine. I like little tiny bells, like this one, that are easy to handle. I do have my big bells back there that actually came from a Catholic church, and it has the 4 bells on them and all that. It makes a lot of noise. Very nice. And I got that for like 25 bucks. It was insanely cheap for what it is. At least I think it was cheap. If you look them up, that's around what they go for. But to get something like that has actually been used in a ritual setting for so many years, it is quite the treat for me. And I think it was actually a little underpriced for me. I found that at an auction. Something most people don't always go to. So some people don't like auctions. That's fine. So another thing for your oils that I have here, and that you can find just about anywhere, this is a cruet. And you can find these, again, just about anywhere. This is a fairly simple design. Has a little O for oil on it. You'll usually see them with an O and a V. They come together. They're for oil and vinegar. And again, for oils, quite perfect. You can also use it, again, for your moon water and whatnot. You put it in there. Again, doesn't have an airtight seal, so it's not something that you're going to want to keep in there for long periods of time, because you do want those things to stay out of the out of the air, out of the elements, so they don't get rancid. But if you're using water, should be totally fine, especially if you're going to be using the water or having it for ritual use. You can use this to prepare your water and whatnot for ritual use. You can also use it if you're making like a batch of rose water or something like that you are using immediately in a ritual use. It's a nice little type of design that you can easily have on the altar. Quite simple, quite plain. You can even take some paint and paint this up if you wish. If you have a little O for oil on there, might I suggest putting a little image of a goddess or a god figure that you utilize in your practice. That would be a great little part to have a cameo. So definitely something that you can have on your altar for ritual purposes. The next couple of things that I'm going to show you are all things that can be used for holding items. So first thing up, little vase. You can find vases. I have them on the shop. You can find some very cheap. You can find some very expensive. The thing that I use my vases for, and I want to keep Chip held there because he does get a little skittish, is I like to use them for my orbs or for my crystals. I have a little crystal ball there. I have crystal eggs and stone eggs and whatnot. So using those to display your balls. Fantastic. Is a good use for these. So another thing that you can use these for, and I don't have any that are, wait, maybe I do. No, I don't. How dare I? How dare I be unprepared for doing a video that I was planning out for the last week? How dare I? Okay, anyway, we're just going to get past that. Another thing that you can use these for is incense. Fill this up a little bit with sand. I suggest filling it up with sand because it gives the incense stick something to hold it into. Some of them you can find like flower frogs, or they have like the little putty that they use for floral arrangements and whatnot. Some of them have them stuck in there, and if it is fantastic, they did have to work for you. but you stick the incense stick in there, you light it up, it stays up straight, you're fine, you're fantastic. So moving on, another thing that might get overlooked is something as simple as a candle holder. Simple candle holders for tapers. A lot of us use the little chime candles. They're great, they're fantastic, but they don't fit in these. And you go out to a store and you're like, oh, I like this candle holder. It looks cool. I want to use it. You know what? You can still use it. You know how? Put your orb, your egg, something like that on it. If you have regular quartz points, let me grab one. If you have regular quartz points and you're doing a little spell work, sits right in there. Make sure it's the right size and whatnot. But inside here, you can put your herbs and everything for the spell work that you're doing. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. It's great. We're moving on. Okay. Next thing up is I have probably half a dozen of these. Actually, probably closer to a dozen. And these are open salts, also known as salt cellars. And what it was is in the old days, you would have a little salt in there and you'd take a pinch out and you would sprinkle it on your stuff, on your food. Well, these are great, again, for holding items. Fantastic, wonderful, displays very nicely in your witchy cabinet, as you can see. And I think I actually got this idea from Willow Wind Thrifty Witching Mama Squirrel. I think I got that idea from her. But I have, obviously, actually, I know I got that idea from her for the candlesticks. So, yeah, definitely love that she gave me that idea. Fantastic, wonderful, love it. Also, if you have brass candlesticks and you have cone incense, these are wonderful because they can withstand the heat around it. You don't have to worry about the bottom getting too hot and whatnot and cracking glass. And if you have it in, one like this, you can go around the room and incense your room. So, your own little witchy area. Fantastic, great, and we're moving on. Actually, to nothing else that I have. At least not in front of me. But a thing about these little salt cellars, or these open salts, depending on where you're from, that's what they're called. You can get these for incredibly cheap. And you can use them for a lot more than just holding salt or holding an orb of some sort, holding your ball. You can use them for a traveling altar. If you are one that likes to take your ritual items on the go, like salt and water and all that other stuff, fantastic. These are going to be your best friend because you can stack them up. I have 3 of them here, and one actually has salt in it. But you can stack them up, you can put them in a little tiny box, and off you go. And whenever you're done, or whenever you're ready for a ritual, you can put your little salt in there. There's your earth representation. As you saw with the ritual for Winnie, I had one with water in there. So there you go. There's your water. The fire one, I would probably do a candlestick holder of some sort, or have a little candle, a tea light of sorts, which again, you can pick these ones up. I think I got these at Walmart. They have the little one for chime candles, and it has the big one for, actually, that might be a regular taper. Yeah, that's regular taper, I think. But it has the one for that, and it has the one for the tea lights and votives. So you can pick these up at Walmart, very cheap. You can probably also find them at any discount store and whatnot. So they're fantastic, they're great, wonderful. And we already talked about doing your air representation with a little bit of incense. Again, you can use feathers and all that other stuff too. But I just wanted to share a little bit. I wanted to actually do a little bit more in depth, but I think this is going to be an ongoing series because as I go through stuff, I'm like, oh, that could have a witchy purpose. And one of my favorite things to do, at least on Mama Squirrel's Facebook page, is whenever somebody buys something and they're like, what is this? I'm like, oh, that's what you call a widget. So I remember somebody said something, or had something that was like, what is this and what can I use it for? And it was actually to sprinkle holy water. And, I looked it up. I found one that was similar to it. I said, you did really good. You found one. It's missing a piece, but that's fine. If you want to use it in your ritual space, I would totally say that is fantastic, because you can go around and you can sprinkle water, holy water of some sort, whether it's moon water or holy water, the way that I make it. You can utilize that in your practice. Fantastic, great, and just something that they bought for very little money, but has a witchy purpose. And, stuff like a salt cellar. If you are in the broom closet, ain't nobody gonna say anything about a salt cellar. They're gonna be like, oh, cool, salt cellar. I need some salt to salt my food. Fantastic, great, nobody's the wiser. So anyway, that's what I wanted to come on and share. And might I say, having something like a perfume bottle is a wonderful display item. Nobody's going to think anything of it. If it's sitting on a shelf, they're going to be like, oh, what a wonderful display item that you have there. And it's actually filled with a little bit of perfume. That's fantastic. They're never going to suspect anything. So, yes, simple stuff like that, especially if you are in the broom closet. These things are affordable. They're fairly easy to find if you are searching in thrift stores or flea markets and whatnot. And if you're also looking for little things to hold your balls, might I also suggest napkin rings, plain ringed napkin rings. I think I'm actually using one up there somewhere, but I have a set on my eBay store that is a set of 4. If you shoot me a price that's reasonable as an offer, I'll probably take it. So yeah, just a little plug for me, and a little ideas for you, whether you have these items or you don't, or you go to thrift stores or whatnot, or you just want to shop from home with me. So anyway, that's all that I have for this Witchy Wednesday. Next Witchy Wednesday, I think I'm going to be a little bit more prepared on items that I'm showing, but I want to do this maybe once a month, highlighting some of the items that I have coming through that I'm taking pictures of and listing and whatnot. So yeah, you guys, sorry, so y'all can actually see some of the things that I sell and some of the things that you can use for a witchy purpose, even if it is not inherently witchy. So yeah, I think I'm going to do this once a month. I don't want to give myself too many promotions here, but I do want to keep it a little bit in the realm of the digestive, I guess. So yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Next week, I don't have anything really planned. I think I'm gonna go to an herb and just pick a random herb and start rambling about it. So join me next week for another Witchy Wednesday. I think we're gonna do herbs, or maybe I'll revisit the crystal grids. Some of y'all like that by commenting and whatnot. I saw some people commented, or at least one person I know did, and they enjoyed the crystal grid and want to explore this a little bit further as we talk about witchy things. So if you have any other suggestions, go ahead and leave them in the comment section down below. And until next time, may you have love, hugs, and ladybugs. Bye-bye.